In 2001, after my husband passed away, my life took a devastating turn. The loss left me grappling with immense hardship, struggling to make ends meet and provide for the children he had entrusted to my care. Every day became a battle against despair, against overwhelming weight of responsibility that now rested solely on my shoulders. I found myself at a crossroads, desperate to find a way to survive. It was during this vulnerable moment that I encountered a group unlike any I had known before, a group that promised power, control, and a path out of my seemingly insurmountable difficulties. With little hesitation, I took their outstretched hand, seeking solace and a means to support my family. The initiation into this mysterious group was unsettling. I was welcomed in their fold with open arms, but as I delved deeper, I began to sense a darkness and lurked beneath the surface. Their rituals were shrouded in secrecy, their beliefs challenged everything I had ever known or believed in. Yet, despite my unease, I continued down this forbidden path. The allure of stability and security for my children outweighed my any doubts or misgivings I had harbored. I immersed myself in their teachings, their practices, willing myself to accept whenever consequences might rise. As time passed, I found myself torn before two worlds, the one I had known before, with its familiar struggles and sorrows, and this new realm with its promises of power and prosperity. I wrestled with guilty and fear, uncertain of the true cost of my decision. Now, looking back, I wonder if I made the right choice. The path I had chosen had granted me strength and resources I once lacked, but at what price? And what darkness still lies ahead, waiting to be uncovered? My journey continues, fraught with uncertainty and regret, yet driven by an unwavering determination to protect and provide for those I love. As I navigate this treacherous terrain, I can only hope that my sacrifices has not damned me irreversible, that somehow redemption may yet be within reach. But for now, the echoes of my husband's memory linger, a constant reminder of the life I once knew and the woman I have become. In 2000, I was married. Back then, I was still staying in my native country, a country I won't return because I sacrificed relatives. I am from Zishawani. Zishawani is a small town in Zimbabwe. My father was working there for a mine I can't disclose. The mine had some losses and went broke. There was no salaries for employees. The workers were told to leave. Most of them didn't have where to go because most of them were not originally from Zimbabwe, like my father. My father came from Malawi. His father is the one who came from Malawi, married a Zimbabwean woman, gave birth to my father and his young brothers. So after there was no work at the mine, my father and his brothers bought a piece of land in Muzarabani. They decided they should go to Muzarabani. Muzarabani is a rural settlement near Zvishavani. They were to stay there. They cooperated and bought that piece of land. All the families will be going there and start to stay there. That's what my father and his brothers did. We went to stay in Muzarabani, targeting to rely on farming. You know, when you are trying to build a rural home in a country you are not originally from, it's very difficult. And my father and his brothers just did it because they were desperate. Came out from work without preparing, without time, starting to know that tomorrow there will be no work. So there was no payments, and their managers told them never expect anything from us because we don't know the whereabouts of the directors. That's what happened to my father. And trying to build a rural home in a country which is not yours is a difficult thing. No one knew about their village of origin in Malawi. Their father died without telling them. It was not easy in Zimbabwe. They faced so many consequences, and they have to relocate to Kushinga, to a certain place which is near Norton. It's like a squatter. We stayed in time. We have been there at that squatter, and that's when I met this man. The man was originally from Zimbabwe. His young brothers were in South Africa, so we dated for 2 years, planning to get married, but he suddenly crossed the border and went to South Africa seeking for greener pastures. As people who loved each other so much, the man called me. I went to South Africa, started working, staying with him. I later on betrayed him in South Africa and moved to another man. The husband and me moved to another place. I arrived to this place I can't mention. So we have been staying with that new husband for some time, but he didn't disclose to me that he was a cancer patient, a person who only wanted kids. He married me because he didn't want to die without a child. We stayed together. That was it with that new husband until it was disclosed. Death he was going to die, deaths he was going to die were already confirmed by the doctors. It was very hard for me to understand. As a result, I became a high blood pressure patient because of that the husband later died. No relatives, friends, only relatives from extended families who doesn't like me because they were not in good books with my husband. Also, they were saying I am Zimbabwean. I should go back to Zimbabwe. So I'm nothing to them. They don't want anything from me. I have been scolded many times. I have been put to difficult times many days. They have been trying to tell the police about I don't have a permit to stay in South Africa. Passports. I was arrested several times, but coming out of South Africa was a difficult thing for both parties. For people who were trying to arrest me and everything, I ended up staying with this other woman. That is after my husband died. And that woman, I told her my story from the beginning, and she said she was going to sponsor me in everything and take a passport, everything I wanted, and also send money back to my parents. I was very happy because of that. But I didn't knew that the person is something in her plans. So I could do whatever she wanted me to do. And this is where exactly I turned again to be a lesbian because that woman was like a husband to me, staying with my kids. They were calling a father just like what she wanted. They don't want she don't want them to know that she was a woman. And I later on moved to another place with that woman. So we moved to that place. She offered me a job in that place because she owned a canteen in that town. She invested so, and I was working there as a general manager, even though I didn't have the qualifications, but I was working there. And this person has been pretending to be good, caring husband, like what she wanted me to call him to Koi. I started there. The first year we started staying there. Since we started staying, my firstborn started having stomach problems. And one day he had a running stomach. We went to the hospital and it was too late. He died bleeding blood from the mouth and private parts, nose everywhere. There is an opening place. He was bleeding till he died. Next year, we were called at school by the school sales master that your daughter is not feeling well. I went with that woman and we took her to the hospital. She died on our way and started bleeding from nose, from mouth, just like what the firstborn did. The next year, again, same time, the last born died. We were just chilling at home, just arriving back from shopping, and she started saying, my body fell, collapsed. We tried to go to the hospital. She spent 2 days in the hospital and started bleeding from nose, mouth, and died. And that was the end of my kids. And we buried and started realizing that after burying the last child, that person, that woman started to scold me and say, you should leave my premises, you should leave my life. Nothing from me uh, to expect, but I also did this to my relatives back home, 2 funerals per year. That was what was going. So that I can relieve my stress, I became a commercial sex worker so that I can't think so much, just earning money so that I can put food on table. For me, I met this person. I never expected this to happen. To meet a commercial sex worker who gave me a good advice, who gave me good advice. That the person told me that we should go to church. Let's stop this. She told me that she was thinking to quit and decided to go to church. And I was told everything when we started going to church. That these people, they opened their church here in South Africa. And that is their mission. They took people who are stranded so that they can take advantage of them, using them. All these years, they took away my children and they took away my capability to have a child again. I will never have a child again because of these people and what they did to me. Uncle, please tell all the citizens, can you please tell your audience it is true when they say they are at work 24/7. Thank you if you'll be publishing this story. I'll be looking forward to hear your response. Here is my WhatsApp number if you want to contact me. Yes, my sister, first and foremost, the first thing you should consider is you should know Jesus Christ. That's the first thing. Then you do other steps after praying. You'll be mixing, you'll be praying prayer first. And some of the steps you should follow include seek legal and law enforcement assistance, seek professional help, acknowledge responsibility, repentance, and seeking forgiveness. I'll start to talk about the first one. My sister, immediately contact local authorities to report what has happened. This step is crucial to ensure the safety and well-being of your children. To hold those responsibility, accountability for their actions. Yes, that was what you're supposed to do. I'm sure there is someone who is listening. I'm sure there's someone who is listening who is in similar situations. Immediately contact local authorities to report what has happened. If there is a physical attack on your children, this step is crucial to ensure the safety and well-being of your children. But in this case, your children are no longer alive. Go and confess. Tell your relatives. Tell everyone. Seek God. Turn to Jesus Christ wholeheartedly. Seek professional help. Reach out to a therapist or a counselor who specialize in trauma and grief counseling. They can provide you with a safe space to process your emotions and understand the factors that led to this decision and work towards healing. The next thing is healing. You need to heal. You need to heal. Acknowledge responsibility. Take full responsibility for your actions. This includes acknowledging the gravity of what has occurred and the harm caused to your children and others involved. Acceptance is the first step towards seeking forgiveness. I'm sure we are together. If there's someone who is listening, who is facing the same, here's the message. The last thing is repentance and seeking forgiveness. Turn to your faith and seek forgiveness through prayer and repentance. I'll reread this one. Turn to your faith and seek forgiveness through prayer and repentance. Prayer is the weapon. Prayer, 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 prayer. Start fasting. Spend your time. If it fails, fasting for a whole day fasting. If it failed, try 2 days. If it failed, try 3 days. You can just skip a meal. That's fasting. Listeners, Solution Uncle is my name. Thank you so much for supporting this show. Thank you so much for helping us achieve this goal. Over 10K subscribers. And also, I would like to take this time to thank one of these most important listeners, Anonymous. Thank you so much for providing us with Wi-Fi data. Thank you so much. Stay blessed wherever you are, wherever you are tuning in from. And that was it for today. This week it will be one upload per day. One upload per day. There's something I'm trying to figure out. Until we meet again another episode, thank you so much. Bye for now.